Good evening. What I have in store for this evening is just a little different than what we've been doing. And I'm going to bring up my desktop here and show you something that I posted a little while ago. So this is our D2L core shell. And what I have, what I'm going to do, we've talked a little bit about Chapter 7. I mean, how can we not talk about Chapter 7 liquidation when we're discussing the bankruptcy law? And this next quiz is has about 27 questions. There's a couple of there's a matching, and so it's worth about 270 points. And what I want to make certain of is that that I really test what you already know and what you don't know, so that we can address that next week. And what I've said here is I sent you all an email, and I also posted it on the top of the news page. I have here the voluntary bankruptcy PowerPoint. It's a pretty basic PowerPoint, but a lot of the information that's in there, of course, is on the quiz. What we're going to do is I'm going to allow you to take the quiz one time by Sunday evening at 11:59, and that way I will be able to tell which questions you've missed, and then I will modify this PowerPoint to address primarily the things that that seem to be concepts that the majority doesn't fully understand. And so after we meet next Tuesday, then I will reopen the quiz. I will, of course, give you multiple attempts at the quiz. And instead of giving you your average score, I will give you your highest score. So that's a little different than what we have been doing. Quite a bit different than what we've been doing. But I think that that will make it possible for me to sort of sharpen my message next week about things that maybe the majority have not understood yet. And so this quiz that I'm showing you here, the lecture quiz over Chapter 7 bankruptcy liquidation, it is going to open up here at 7 o'clock this evening. So you could begin working on it as soon as you want. And it'll close then on the 3rd, which is Sunday evening. And as I say, we'll then take a look at that. I will take a look at that and modify the PowerPoint and address those things next week. So the PowerPoint that I have, I'm going to bring that up and just very quickly, go through that PowerPoint. It doesn't have a lot of the bells and whistles that I sometimes try to add. I'll work on those next week, but it's primarily just, basically the information that I'd like you to be sure and read, because it ties in directly with the quiz. So as you can see, some of these things I'm sure are things that you have now become familiar with. And I see that several people are starting to submit their bankruptcy petition schedules. Several people, I think, have filed the application to pay the filing fee by installments. So I would recommend that when you get ready to take this quiz for the first time, you open the PowerPoint presentation up and review it. And then as you see what questions exist, many of those questions will be answered on this kind of vanilla PowerPoint, I guess we could call it. I tried to keep somebody who was falling asleep awake, but we'll just have to see how that works out. So don't be frightened when you hear the glass crash at the end. Not a big deal. So I'm going to stop my screen sharing, and I want to make sure that, in fact, you were able to see my screen. I usually ask that. Penny and Sonia, were you both able to see my desktop, see the course shell, and see the PowerPoint? if you would just type in your response to that. Okay, so, and you already downloaded the PowerPoint, Penny. And Sonia, were you able to see? I guess if Penny could see, I guess you could see. So that's really all I planned on for this evening. I think that this will be the best way for me to try to make sure that we learn the maximum amount about Chapter 7. You'll notice in that PowerPoint that there's a lot of discussion about motions. You know, that's one of the major things we're going to be doing and talking about, you know, motions to avoid judicial liens, motions to avoid non-purchase money liens. There are a couple of exercises that are worth major points that regard, you know, those concepts. So do either of you have any questions about what we're going to do this coming week and how that's going to be just a little different? And if you would simply type in the questions and I'll try to respond. Okay. I guess we could turn off the recording and end this session early.